You are given a time machine and one task. Solve one of history's greatest mysteries. Which mystery do you solve? I would find out what happened to Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. It crashed on the island. There were around 40 survivors. They met some others. They all died eventually. I'm pretty sure they made a documentary on it called Lost. For some reason, Mary Celeste has always intrigued me. They probably just ran into an emergency that required immediate evacuation, and their lifeboat unfortunately sunk, but I'd still like to know exactly what happened. They were carrying high-strength alcohol, like way beyond drinking grade, even for sailors. I think what happened is that one of the casks leaked, filled the ship with flammable vapor, and they took to one of the boats, tied it to the ship, and retreated to that while the fumes dissipated. The line got away from them and they drifted apart. That's why there was still food on the tables, cutlery out. They had to evacuate ASAP, drop everything and go. I would go back in time and fix the temporal loop created for me to get a time machine so I don't mess any time up. Kill your grandmother so you would never be born. LOL. Oh! Who killed King Charles XII of Sweden? He was a Swedish king, and one night while on a military campaign, someone murdered him. It's not too much of a huge mystery since it's sort of obvious who was behind it, but there's no concrete proof. And then, I would figure out who actually wrote the book, A General History of the Pirate. 300 years still no one knows, the secret remains. Who revealed the location of Anne Frank and her family to the Germans? Not as grand or mysterious as the pyramids of Stonehenge, but it's still interesting and it's kind of infuriating that we still don't know who did it after all this time. Turns out it was some moron in a time machine. The Nazis followed a suspicious character who led them right to the house they were hiding in. When they arrested him, he spoke only English, no German, so they searched the house incredibly thoroughly and found the Franks. Did Tyrannosaurus Rex have any feathers? Let's find out! It's speculated that they may have had some. It's also speculated that dinosaurs didn't roar, but sounded more like really big birds, which doesn't in and of itself sound terrifying until you think of a hissing goose the size of a T-Rex. MH370. I know at this point we have to assume the captain committed suicide, but we never know for sure, because nobody ever found the black box. I would never take that flight, mate. LOL. That's where GPS tracking technology comes in, because I'm not taking that flight as well. Personally, I would want to know what happened to Amelia Earhart. I think they found signs she was stranded on an island and her distress signals were ignored. I'll Google it when I have time and leave you a link. Did the Sodder children really die in a house fire? Or was the fire a distraction so they could get kidnapped? I need answers. This prompted me to do a Google search. Very interesting. They were kidnapped. No way that multiple people die in a house fire that left smoldering beams and no trace of any human remains. How to make Greek fire or Damascene steel. How to make wood steel has been solved for a while. Wood steel is the raw ingredient in Damascene blades, which is folded wood steel. May as well take a picnic and a camera to that grassy knoll in Dallas. Even if I see nothing worth a photo, it looked like a nice day for a picnic. This is the kind of reply I like. Maybe I just like to take a stroll around a nice town years ago and have a picnic in the park. Stonehenge. How did they build it and what for? It was a strange race of people, the Druids. No one knows who they were or what they were doing, but their legacy remains. He went into the living rock of Stonehenge. What happened to Maura Murray? Not the biggest, but something that always intrigued me. I see you also went down that rabbit hole. When I was out of a job, I came across that mystery and all the podcasts about it. I solved the mystery of that one-time traveler that appeared in the year 1935. Whoever it was, it will surely be a surprise knowing him. You don't find him, but get spotted whilst looking. Definitely see about Jesus. Being raised Catholic, I would love to either be proven right or wrong. Jesus' real skin tone. I don't know why I want to know, but I want to know. I mean, it's pretty much proven because of where he was born and where the majority of the Bible takes place. I think the controversy is from people being ignorant and not wanting the God they look up to be a different color skin than them. Assuming religions are man-made, solve the mystery of the first religion. That would be of great insight for psychology. They're man-made, sure, but not like L. Ron Hubbard man-made. They evolved organically out of naturally superstitious beliefs. Identifying a first religion would be like identifying the first human. Absolutely agree with you. Better way to phrase and explain it with more detail. Yeah, I also don't think we call that prehistoric behavior religion. I would really like to know how any kind of religious behavior first emerged. Go back to when Jesus was born to see if the Bible is real. This is a very good answer, actually. Although I would change it to go back and see if the account of Jesus' life is true according to the Bible. No doubt the characters in the Bible were real historical people. What they did and didn't do is another matter. What really killed off the dinosaurs? Arrives. Holy, is that a stegosaurus? Turns around. Alien. Ack, ack! Shoots a laser and I explode into goo. The stegosaurus was long extinct by the time of the KT extinction event. Also, dinosaurs aren't extinct, only non-avian dinosaurs are. Go back to old London town. 31st August, 1888. Bucks Row, Whitechapel around 3 a.m. and find out who Jack the Ripper was. Atlantis! Is no one else curious about its existence? The myth probably began with a volcanic eruption of Santorini and a series of translation errors regarding numbers, how big and how long ago, and a translation error changing Atlantis from being between Asia and Africa to being larger than Asia and Africa. The Mystery of Roanoke, one of the first colonies in the US. Basically, it was a harsh winter, and someone returned to find that everyone had disappeared. There's lots of theories, but nothing has been proven. Except for the blonde, blue-eyed white people folks later found living with the Croatan Indians in the same area. Just track down Nazis who fled to South America or wherever, and obviously stop them ASAP, as some ended up committing sex crimes against kids in their little communes they set up. Also, make sure Hitler died and didn't escape to Argentina. Would Trump have been elected if Comey hadn't made the announcement that the FBI was reopening the email investigation? I've been obsessing over that since the last time travel question I saw here. I'm still pissed off about that. Find and watch the Lost Doctor episodes. Not really a mystery, but hey, I got priorities. Maybe I'll preserve them better if I'm allowed my phone or a recording device. I hope you have room for one more in that time machine. Although, if we're talking about Doctor Who, there should be more than enough room in the TARDIS. Why not go big? I'm gonna watch the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ. Assuming that it actually happens, of course. Gotta remember to bring an extra memory card and a solar charger for the old smartphone. I want that stuff on video. Mysteriously wiped 3 days later. Damn it. I mean, darn it. How does this COVID chaos play out? True. Everyone is mentioning going backwards in time, but no one has said going forwards in time that I have read yet. Who made the first peanut butter and jelly sandwich? People say it was from World War II. I don't believe it. I want to know who has blessed us. It's kind of weird knowing that at one point in history, there was no such thing as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What happened to Anastasia of Russia, and where she went when the Tsar and the rest of the family was killed? Didn't they find her buried a few yards away from the rest of the Romanovs recently? What was the population bottleneck in humanity roughly 40k years ago, and how can I become a god king to these people? Everybody died when some jerk time traveler brought back future diseases. Oak Island. Go back in time to when it was constructed and figure out who built it, how they did it, and why they built it. And of course, what is buried down there. What actually happened with JFK? Even if the official story is what really happened, fine. At least we'd know for sure. When Amanda hurt her arm in the Bad News Bears pitching in the championship game against the Yankees, how come Buttermaker didn't think of having Kelly Leak come in to pitch instead of stupid old Rudy? Who killed Bob Crane? They have a damn good idea, and lots of circumstantial evidence against his buddy in porn. And there was even a trial, but due to the police department bungling the investigation and even losing evidence, he was acquitted. Crane was a dick that belonged in prison. As the murder occurred when I was a kid, I had wondered why it suddenly got hushed up in the media. I found out a few years ago why and was really sorry I did. Can't bring myself to watch that show again. What happened to D.B. Cooper in 1971 after he hijacked an airplane and escaped with $200,000 by jumping out with a parachute without leaving any trace? Didn't he take the fake training one that the police said they left by accident? He's probably dead, which is kind of sad. Part of me hopes that he lived the rest of his life in a big mansion someplace in Argentina. Where the little rubber part on my headphones disappeared to. I even emptied out my room, that's where I dropped it, and couldn't find it. Any of the lost cities, El Dorado, Atlantis, etc. We have just enough hints to imply that they may have existed at one point or in one form or another, but not enough to pinpoint a location in modern times. We kinda already know that neither of them exist. Atlantis was one of Plato's AU fanfics. El Dorado was just plain wishful thinking. Also, Plato literally said where it was in his book. It wasn't there, but it's still fun to think about.